Earlier, Natalie had been running all over town in a desperate search for Rio, and when she finally tracked him down, she breathlessly informed him that Abel and his team were trapped deep inside the dungeon. The moment Rio heard that, he wasted no time and encased Natalie in an ice-crafted cart and rushed straight toward the dungeon's entrance at full speed. During the ride, Natalie managed to tell Rio all the details of the situation, and by the time they arrived had a solid understanding of just how bad things were. Rio thanked her for reaching out, but the one question lingered in his mind. How did Natalie know to look for him in the first place? So Natalie explained that back when they first met, Abel had told her that if anything ever went wrong and he wasn't around to help, she should find Rio immediately. According to Abel, Rio was the most dependable person he had ever known. That definitely sounded like something Abel would say, and it warmed Rio's heart to hear how much trust his friend had in him. Still, there was a time to get emotional, so Rio turned and ran toward the dungeon gate without hesitation. The adventurers stationed at the entrance tried to block his path, but Rio had no patience for delays, so he summoned thick walls of ice to trap them behind and made his way inside without slowing down. As soon as Rio was inside, he remembered that Natalie had told him the signal came from the 40th floor, but still there was no way he could take the long route, not when every second counted. So Rio cut straight through the floors using high-pressure water blades, which is how he ended up reaching the bottom in time. Right away, the demon prince lunged in for a strike, but its speed was laughable, nowhere near enough to land a hit on Rio. With complete ease, Rio sidestepped the attack and decapitated the demon in one clean sweep. Abel and the rest of his team were stunned because they couldn't believe Rio had taken down such a powerful enemy so effortlessly. But the fight wasn't over yet, and to everyone's disbelief, the demon prince picked its severed head up from the ground and reattached it like nothing happened. Rio acknowledged that this regeneration ability could be a minor annoyance, but the demon prince had no chance of doing any real damage to him. Then Rio conjured multiple razor-sharp water jets surrounding the demon prince from every angle. Before it even had time to comprehend how badly things were about to go, it was already too late, because Rio vaporized the demon prince's body into fine dust, and this time there was nothing left to regenerate. With the battle officially concluded, Abel turns to Rio and expresses his deep gratitude for the rescue. But Rio casually brushes it off, saying words are cheap. If Abel truly wants to thank him, then he can treat him to dinner tonight. Just then, Arthur steps forward and introduces himself as a representative from the Bureau of Royal Magicians. Arthur expresses sincere appreciation for Rio's intervention, saying that without him they absolutely would have perished down here. But Rio insists there is no need for thanks, because he never turns his back on people in danger, and if anything, he regrets not arriving sooner. Maybe then the number of casualties could have been minimized. Arthur agrees, saying the entire incident is still a tragic loss. Arthur explains that once the mages regain enough energy, they will begin recovering the fallen so their remains can be properly honored and laid to rest. In the meantime, Abel has a request, and he asks Rio to help him harvest magic stones from the slain demons, because he plans to use the funds to support the families of those who didn't make it. Rio is happy to assist, but there is something that has been bothering him since he arrived. When Rio dropped down from the 39th floor, he felt like he passed through some kind of magical field. But the moment Rio took out the demon prince, that sensation vanished completely. And that's not all, because during his descent, he used a detection spell and picked up something unusual coming from the staircase. They plan to check it out before leaving, but for now their priority is gathering as many demon stones as they can. Even with all his experience, Arthur admits this is the first time he has ever actually seen one. There aren't any trustworthy documents describing them either, since demons tend to appear seemingly out of thin air. Some scholars believe they might possess the ability to manipulate space and time, but that theory has yet to be confirmed. Elsewhere in the world, a different scene unfolds. The hero's party has just triggered an ancient altar designed to summon the demon lord. A few seconds later, a swirling portal materializes before them and Leonore steps out. The hero immediately assumes Leonore is the demon lord and calls her by that name out loud, much to her confusion, because last she checked, that wasn't her title. In reality, Leonore just followed a strange energy signature she sensed and decided to investigate. But the moment Leonore hears this guy is a hero, her mood shifts, because if he really is a hero, then he must be strong, and if that's the case, then she is absolutely down for a fight. Then the hero boldly raises his weapon, declaring with full confidence that today is the day he slays Leonore, and Leonore perks up with excitement, clearly ready for a thrilling duel. But within moments her anticipation is crushed because this guy is pathetically weak. Leonore barely put any force behind her swing, yet her blades slice straight through his chest, so the disappointment hits hard. Leonore pulls her sword back and glances at the rest of the party who are frozen in place, visibly horrified and unsure of what to do. Leonore doesn't particularly get a thrill from killing people, so she flashes behind the party's mage and casually suggests they just quit and head home. If their so-called hero couldn't last a second against her, then none of them would fare any better. And they should probably tend to their wounded heroes since Leonore didn't hit any major organs. If they act fast, they might still make it. Thankfully, the party chooses the smart option and immediately scrambles to stabilize their fallen comrade. While they are busy treating his wounds, Leonore strolls over to inspect the altar. The fight was a total letdown, but Leonore is at least intrigued by the magic gem they used to summon her. It radiates unusual energy, and she considers the trip worthwhile after all. And with the flick of her hand, Leonore teleports the gem into her storage space. From the ground, the hero yells for the demon lord to stop, but Leonore is seriously getting tired of the title. Leonore turns to face them and bluntly says she is not the demon lord. The entire group is stunned because if Leonore is not the demon lord, then how is she that powerful? Leonore doesn't really have a satisfying answer because from her perspective, they are just hilariously underpowered. Still, Leonore gives them a sliver of credit because at their current level, they might be able to beat the real demon lord if they actually coordinated properly. But as for her, Leonore is way beyond that weakling. The hero looks shaken because he can't process the idea that being stronger than the demon lord is out there, so he starts wondering how a regular human like him is supposed to stand a chance against her. But Leonore assures him that it's not impossible because in fact she has fought a human once who matched her, and she thinks his name was Rio. That guy was incredible because fighting him had been a real blast, and if Leonore had to assign a power level, she would say Rio was about 10,000 times stronger than the hero currently is. With that parting thought, Leonore vanishes, leaving the hero's party to sit in stunned silence and carry on with whatever was left of their day. Meanwhile, back within the depths of the dungeon, Rio and the rest of the adventurers are making their way toward the staircase to begin their ascent to the surface. Once they reach the spot, Rio points out the oddity he mentioned earlier to Arthur. It appears to be some sort of magical crystal, but Arthur has never seen anything quite like it before and can't determine what it's meant to do. Curious, Arthur decides to bring it for proper study and slips it into his storage pouch before they resume their track upward. Eventually, the entire party safely emerges above ground and Hugh begins organizing treatment for the injured adventurers. Meanwhile, Natalie reunites with Abel and the others to ensure they are all in one piece, and Abel personally thanks her for thinking quickly, because if she hadn't gone looking for Rio, they wouldn't have stood a chance. Everything seems to be going smoothly now, and Hugh is clearly relieved that Abel's team made it out alive. If they had perished in the dungeon, the fallout would have been disastrous. That said, Hugh still has something he wants to bring up. Hugh turns toward Rio and demands an explanation for why he barged past the gate guards and entered the dungeon despite knowing it was off limits. Rio honestly wasn't expecting Hugh to follow up on that, but he owns up to it and offers a genuine apology for violating protocol. Before Hugh can press the issue further, Arthur steps in to defend him, urging Hugh to give Rio some slack. After all, if Rio hadn't taken action when he did, none of them would be alive right now. Hugh is taken aback and asks Arthur to elaborate, but Arthur suggests they speak privately and invites Hugh to a nearby tent. Once they are alone, Arthur explains everything that happened below, detailing the encounter with the demons and the appearance of the demon prince, and Hugh listens in stunned silence. The idea that demons are appearing at a time like this is unreal, and the fact that anyone survived is nearly impossible to believe, so Hugh assumes Abel must have done something extraordinary to protect the group. Arthur agrees that Abel fought bravely, but even he wasn't able to stand up to the demon prince. In fact, Abel was seconds away from being killed until Rio arrived just in time. Hugh was still trying to understand everything. Hugh had always known Rio was gifted, but he never imagined the kid was capable of facing down a demon prince on his own. But Arthur quickly corrects him, saying that facing isn't the right word because what Rio did wasn't a duel but a complete massacre. Rio annihilated the demon prince and its remaining minions in mere seconds, unleashing magic so overwhelming it bordered on horrifying. Then after seeing that firsthand, Arthur tells Hugh that their number one priority from this point forward should be ensuring that Rio remains an ally of this nation. Because if someone like him were to turn against them, the consequences would be catastrophic. With that in mind, Arthur asks for Hugh's cooperation in erasing all traces of Rio's power from the official report, because the last thing they need is for some clueless noble to learn about Rio and start demanding the impossible from him. The next morning, Rio is wandering through town when a mouth-watering aroma catches his attention. Rio follows the scent to an eatery known for its legendary curry, and to his surprise he finds Sarah already seated inside. Sarah is equally shocked to see Rio but admits she can't blame him because the food here really is worth the hype. They both place their orders, and since they finally have some time to talk, Sarah asks Rio where he's been staying. Rio replies that he is currently living in the guild dorms. That catches her off guard because those rooms are usually reserved for newbies. Rio explains that he technically is still a rookie even though he was promoted to D rank right after joining the Adventurer Guild. Sarah raises an eyebrow because instant rank promotions are incredibly rare, but judging by his aura and confidence it checks out. Once they finish eating the 2 steps outside, Rio turns to her and asks why he never sees her around the guild as she is a registered adventurer. Sarah explains that it's a bit complicated. Sarah has been working under a long-standing contract in the royal capital, so she rarely has to check in with the guild at all. Sarah currently serves as a sword instructor for Margrave of Loon's Knight Battalion. Since they are already on the topic, Sarah asks Rio if he has any plans coming up because she'd really love to spar with him sometime for fun. A short while later, Rio and Sarah stand across from one another in the training arena, moments away from beginning their duel. Before they start, Rio curiously asks how Sarah even knew he used a sword, especially considering he is a mage. Sarah explains that it was obvious from his posture and the way he moved. Besides, it's not all that rare for a spellcaster to mix in physical combat techniques. As the duel begins, Sarah lunges at Rio with a burst of blinding speed. Rio barely manages to react in time and parries her strike. That alone surprises Sarah because almost no one has ever dodged her initial blow on the first attempt. Rio is equally caught off guard. Rio wasn't expecting her to be that fast, but as Sarah admits, she was just warming up and now she is ready to go all in. Rio does everything he can to keep up as Sarah begins launching rapid, relentless attacks. Still, her speed and precision are overwhelming, and despite his best efforts, she eventually overpowers him. When the match ends, Sarah throws her arms around Rio in pure excitement, gushing about how impressed she is. Sarah hadn't realized just how skilled Rio was, and very few people can withstand her onslaught that long, especially considering she was enhancing her movements with wind magic, while Rio didn't use any spells at all. Sarah loves to keep sparring, but she has a sword lesson scheduled soon with the Margrave's son, so she has to go. After saying his goodbyes, Rio begins walking home. On his way, Rio bumps into Hugh, who happens to be heading to the guild as well. Hugh invites Rio to join him, saying there is something important they need to discuss, specifically the dungeon incident where Rio broke through security and entered unauthorized. Hugh quickly reassures him that there is no need to stress because Arthur has already explained how crucial Rio's intervention was in saving the investigation team. Hugh is genuinely thankful for that, but that said, the rules are still the rules and some disciplinary action is required. So for a formal punishment, Hugh assigns Rio a task. Rio is a little puzzled because it sounds more like a favor than a punishment, but Hugh just tells him not to think too hard about it because the assignment is a simple escort mission. Rio will be accompanying someone on a round trip to the city of Whitnash. So now what will happen next? Subscribe to our channel to find out what will happen next. Friends, before we wrap up, we've recently launched a membership program where you can enjoy perks like early access to videos and exclusive content just for members and many more to enhance your interactions. If you're interested, consider joining our membership. To enjoy these benefits, check out the link in the description to join. So friends, if you enjoyed our recap video, please like and share it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.